So if you've ever had an issue where a client has paid you a lot of money for a video and they say they loved it, but then they never hired you again, then this video is for you. What's going on, guys? We're back with another video. This one a little bit more chill. We're going to do more of a podcast style. I figure we just kind of have like a conversation. And so I actually want to share with you guys a story of what happened to me this last week. And it's actually happened to me several times. I've had several videographers come and talk to me about this exact same topic. And I figured I'd just make maybe a video talking about it today. Maybe you can relate with something like this. And if you can relate with this, then I want to tell you that you're not alone. I haven't even said what it is, right? But I want to tell you that you're not alone and that there is a solution and you can definitely do something about it. So as I mentioned in the beginning of the video, right? If you've worked with clients in the past, maybe you made them really amazing videos, but oftentimes maybe they never hire you again. And oftentimes that tends to happen because they just don't get any kind of result with the video. And so what happened was that I was on a call with a videographer this last week. And one of the things that he said to me was, I feel guilty charging my clients crazy amounts of money and me even calling this video an asset when I know it's not. And that just really hit me because, I mean, obviously that's a lot of what I preach. And it's funny because, like I've said, I've had multiple conversations with videographers that feel the same way. My question is, do you feel like that? Right? Like it can suck, right? Like especially when oftentimes we are so passionate about making these videos look as amazing as possible, right? Like the story, the production quality, the color grade, the sound design, like everything, right? And then you hand it off to the business that you did this for or the nonprofit or whatever it is. And then they post it on their website, they post it on the social media. And the reality is that it just goes to those platforms to die. Like nobody ever sees it. And frankly, even me, like I feel like I am doing a disservice to the clients that I've worked with when I actually don't help them with the distribution because like they obviously need it, right? Like they need the help because they don't know what the hell they're doing. And so I also feel like it's in my best interest, and I feel like it should be in your best interest too, because dude, if I made an amazing video, I want the whole world to see it, right? It's like what we say all the time. It's like, look, it doesn't matter how good you are at what you do. If nobody knows about it, well, then what's the point, right? And that's maybe something that you've maybe said before to your clients, right? Like this video is going to help you get the word out. But the exact same thing, right? Like if you don't help distribute that video, well, no one's going to ever see it, right? And so I want to kind of just lean on some concepts today that I want to share with you guys and kind of how I think about some of these things. And so that we can ultimately help our clients generate outcomes. Like, so maybe about 3 months ago, we had a new member join FOD. This guy's an adventure videographer. He's done documentaries for Red Bull, super talented guy. He's a little bit older too. And he's like, dude, I've done all this amazing stuff. I've done narrative films. I've done documentaries. I work with all these amazing like brands and stuff. But he's like, I mean, one, he wasn't making good amount of money. And as we all know, Hollywood's going down the drain. Like it's becoming a lot harder and harder to really make decent money with, that traditional type of style of filmmaking. And so there's a lot of opportunity in working with businesses. So he's like, dude, I want to start an agency. I feel like maybe there's not a lot of opportunity there and working with local businesses, all that stuff. And so I'm like, yeah, there 100% is. If you can provide a turnkey solution, which is what a lot of what I talk about, turnkey solution simply just means if you can actually solve a problem, right? You offer a series of services that solve the entire puzzle of the problem, right? And so the reality is that when you work with a business, they're maybe coming at you and they're like, hey, I need a video. Like I had a nonprofit reach out to me this week. This is like a personal friend. And they're like, hey, Luis, like we're really struggling. I was hoping you could make a video for us. And I'm like, okay, so Of course, they're going to say that they need some kind of video, right? But the reality is that when I go and have this conversation with them, is that I'm trying to get a better understanding of what their problems are, right? Once I understand their problems, and mind you, as I'm doing this, I'm asking them a bunch of questions like, hey, well, you said you were struggling. Can you tell me a little bit more about that? Like, what exactly happened? Anyway, as I'm poking and I'm probing, I found out that they lost a ton of funding and that they need to make an extra $200,000 this year. If not, they're gonna have to start firing people, right? They're gonna have to start closing down some of the facilities, different things like that. And this is actually a nonprofit that I'm really connected with, that I really believe in the mission, and so I want to help them, right? And so the reality is that if I tell people all the time, like if you make a video for them, you're solving part of the problem, but you're not solving the entire problem, right? The question becomes, well, what if you could actually solve the entire problem? And so that's kind of my first point here today, is that if you're going to make a video for somebody, if you're going to make an asset, right? An asset needs to produce a result, period. And so this is straight from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Like, an asset is anything that puts money in your pocket. A liability is anything that takes money out of your pocket, right? And so the sad reality is that oftentimes we're a liability. Like, let's just be honest about that, right? Like, we are a liability. We're taking money out of their pocket and we're not helping them actually put any money into their pocket. And so an asset, what does it do? An asset works without you, right? An asset generates leads, it generates sales, it increases or pushes the bottom line. And so that's what your video should be, right? Like, your video should be an asset. Like, there's a very good saying that says the purpose of marketing is to make sales easier, right? And really good marketing along with advertising actually just generates sales, period. That is just like, number one, right? Like, your video should be an asset. The work that you do for your clients should be an asset. You should be helping them actually generate some kind of outcome because, hey man, like, they need it. Like, that's why they're reaching out to you. The only reason they think they need a video is because they think the video is going to help them make more money, right? But again, what if you could actually solve the entire puzzle? Because these guys don't know how to do it themselves. And so what I ended up realizing is that clients actually didn't hire me to create, they hired me to contribute. And so what I ended up having to do was that I had to take a step back and start realizing, okay, like, if I actually want to solve the entire puzzle, what are the skill sets involved in doing that? And hey, maybe you don't have those skill sets yet, but just like anything else, right? You learn, like, you go and YouTube it, you go, take a class, you go join a mentorship program, right? Like, you go do whatever it is that you need to do so that you can actually acquire those skill sets, because frankly, it's not that hard. This is all just good business practices, right? Like, you are a business owner. You should know these things even just so that you can apply them to yourself. For your own business, right? Now, if you can apply them to other businesses, well, then even better, right? Going back to what we were talking about today, it's like, be an asset, right? Help them actually generate some kind of outcome. And so if you really want to help your clients, like, some of these other elements of the puzzle involves strategy, it involves messaging, it involves distribution, and it involves follow-up. Right. And so part of distribution is that you want to help them generate leads. And then part of adding some kind of follow-up method is all involved with that. And so, maybe that sounds a little too overwhelming for you. But I also want to say that this is straight up from Naval. You get paid in direct proportion to the difficulty of the problem that you solve. A lot of you guys are not happy with what you're charging right now. It's because you're not solving a big enough problem. And so maybe some of these things might feel overwhelming for you, but the reality is that if you just get good, and honestly, guys, it doesn't take a lot. Like, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You just have to go do what people are already doing. And frankly, like, I'm doing this, the guys that I'm working with are doing this. A lot of other people are doing it too. So it is actually not that hard. It's not overwhelming if you follow the right steps, right? But again, the bigger problem you solve, then the more money you can make. And so if you're not happy with the type of money that you're making right now, well, then, ask yourself, am I solving a big enough problem? If you can add more pieces to the puzzle and complete it, then you can charge more. All right. And maybe you don't have to offer all of these services. Maybe you can start stacking one after the other, little by little, and little by little, you just start charging more. The other thing is that quite often when people reach out to me, they're reaching out to me because They just don't like the type of business that they build, right? Like a lot of people, they're still stuck in this freelancer trap. They're still stuck in the content creation hamster wheel. And they're like, dude, I just have no time, flexibility, and freedom. Like at the end of the day, if I am not out there shooting video or editing content or whatever, then I'm not making money. And so therefore, it's really hard for me to take a vacation. It's really hard for me to spend time with my kids and my family, so on and so forth. And so the fourth thing is that you can't build a freedom business if all you sell are deliverables. And so this was a big shift for me. And something that I realized is that we went away from selling deliverables and instead we started selling outcomes. And so going back to the conversation that I was having with this nonprofit, right? Like part of me talking to her, she came with me with this idea that, hey, Luis is going to make me a video. But I totally just took over the conversation. I started asking her all these questions. Dude, I gave her strategy. I talked to her about other things we can do aside from video, like advertising. We can also doing lead nurture campaigns, different things like that. And so I started talking to her about everything else except the video, right? Because every time I take a sales call, I'm trying to identify what the problem is. And then I'm trying to figure out what their goal is. Their goal is that they need to make an extra $200,000 in the next year, right? So once I have this information, then it's really easy for me to reverse engineer based off of what their current metrics are. So to give you an example of that, anytime they get a new customer, it's $3,500 for them. Well, if I divide that by 6, because there's 6 months left in the year at the recording of this video, they need 10 new clients every single month. And I'm like, okay, now we know, right? Like we know that we need 10 new clients every single month. And so what I'm doing there is that I'm simply quantifying what it's going to take for them to actually get to where they want to go, right? And so they basically want to make an extra $33,000 a month. And so what's really cool about that too is that now I tied my fee to an actual outcome, right? So when I say, hey, if you want to make an extra $200,000 this year, well, it's only going to cost you 20 grand. Right? Like now I can kind of price anchor, which is a really great way, like a really good sales tactic at the end of the day, where it's like, oh yeah, like this is totally a no-brainer because I am tying my fee to an actual outcome, right? Like I am tying it to an ROI. That is extremely important. And so a part of the reason why you're still stuck editing and you're still stuck, doing it all yourself is that you are still a freelancer, meaning that you don't have any systems. And so what happens is that oftentimes you're willing to say yes to any work that comes your way because you don't know where your next client's going to come from, right? And that actually puts you in a trap because you're scrambled for work, you get work, but then you're so busy that you can't keep doing prospecting. And then you lose the client and then you scramble for work again and then so on and so forth, right? And so it just kind of leaves you in this constant wheel. And the reason is that you are not offering a turnkey solution. Again, going back to what I said earlier, you have to solve a problem, right? And once you figure out how to solve that problem, you understand that there's only a few key things that you're going to do for that client. And so that's called a productized service. It is a service that you do over and over and over again, and you do it the same every single time, regardless of the client. What that then allows you to do is that it actually helps you turn it into a replicatable process that you can actually teach someone else to do. Because part of the problem, as far as why you're still your own bottleneck, is that you're reinventing the wheel every single time. You say yes to everybody, right? This client needs a listing video. This guy needs a corporate video. This guy needs a documentary. This guy needs a narrative film. You say yes to everybody, which then doesn't allow you to actually create systems and processes so that you can actually hire a team and then remove yourself from the business, right? And so good old Hormozy quote, right? Don't scale chaos. You have to scale clarity, right? And so another big one is simple scale, fancy fails. Super famous for that one, right? And so what we ended up doing was that we were actually solving a problem. This, my first client that we ever did this for was a med spa. We made him 25 grand in 2 weeks. And so what I then did is that I outlined that process, what did we do to solve that problem? And then I just started saying, hey, if you have anybody else out there in the marketplace, if you have this problem, I can help you fix it. Here's how we do it. And what we did then is that we just copy and pasted that solution for every single med spa out there. And we went from 1 client to 30 clients in 6 months, right? And we were a 2-man team. And that's what's so cool about this business model. I teach a business model called the ad content agency model, because at the end of the day, what it allows you to do is that it helps you create a replicatable system. And so with that, I can just copy and paste that solution to everybody. And because it is so efficient, I can have a small team to fulfill it. All right, guys, I've talked enough. So if you're stuck selling beautiful videos that don't actually do anything for your clients, guys, it's time for a shift. All right. Hopefully this video has encouraged you and given you some insights so you can kind of take that step forward. And like, don't get me wrong here. It's like, you don't have to work more. You don't have to actually hustle harder. The reality is that when you actually do these things, you can bring on less clients, you can charge more, and it actually involves shooting less video, which is the really cool part. So it actually buys back a lot of your time, location, freedom, and it gives you a lot more financial security too. And so you need to just rethink what it is that you're selling and what your clients are actually buying, right? Like, it is a simple question. What do your clients want? Once you understand what your clients want, then just give them that. So hopefully if you guys found this insightful, I have some resources and some information linked at the bottom in the description. Give me a follow on IG, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.